Hello and welcome to the second episode of Vessel and Voice. My name is Kim Charlson. I am so delighted to welcome you to the second episode, which is all about spirit guides, what they are, kind of a spirit guide 101. How can we start working with our spirit guides and answering some really common questions and misconceptions about spirit guides? Monty will join us in a little bit after we have talked through a little bit of the human side of working with spirit guides, and he'll give the spirit guide perspective of what it's like to be a spirit guide and what their priorities are and why they've decided to become a spirit guide. So before we get into it, I want to invite you that if you know someone that you think would really enjoy this podcast, or that you listen to another podcast that you think Monty and I would be a really great addition to, we would love if you would share this or send this to your favorite podcast host to let them know that we want to bring channeling and spirit guide messages to more people and would love to be on their podcast. So we really appreciate you and thank you so much. As we get into this today, we're going to be answering the question, what is a spirit guide? What do they do? How do we work with them? Because when you're at the beginning of working with spirit guides and getting kind of interested in channeling, and you're kind of beginning to wonder, who are these things that people are channeling? What are they talking to? Who are they? And do I have something like that I could start talking to? A spirit guide is a non-physical being that is dedicated to you specifically. They only work with you. Unlike a guardian angel, sometimes those will work with multiple people. An ancestor, they work with everybody that shares your lineage. Then there's different traditions of guardian spirits. Those could be dedicated to a particular place rather than a person even. And there's totems and spirit animals that are more of an indigenous tradition. I really don't know anything about those, so I'll refrain from commenting on those. But spirit being is basically anything that's non-physical, but a spirit guide in particular is a non-physical being that is just working with you, just collaborating with you. That's really the difference between a spirit guide and any other kind of spiritual being out there. A spirit guide is specifically there for you on your team and your team alone. It doesn't mean they won't collaborate with other spirit teams, so that way they can get things to happen in physical manifestation, like different meetings or different comments that people may make that may, get you to think about something different or give you different choices. That can happen too. But your spirit guides are there just to work with you specifically, is the difference between them and some other type of being that may be working with you. But a spirit guide is really there dedicated to help you with your spiritual growth in particular. And this could be emotional, it could be your health and physical wellness, it could be your mental health, it could be your career. Basically, every different aspect of your life is spiritual. Every aspect of why you're here in physical manifestation has a spiritual side of it. They are helping you through all of those different processes. And what that looks like doesn't just mean angel numbers, which Monty will talk about in a little bit, but it can be making different connections, helping you have different realizations, making you notice different things. There's lots of different ways that spirit guides can collaborate with you, but their goal is to kind of help you through the different challenges of your life. So that way you are experiencing spiritual growth and experiencing the different aspects that your soul has set out to experience in this particular lifetime. Their role is really to provide insight, but also to provide comfort and support. So when I work with spirit guides, a lot of the time I'm asking them for insight. What is it that you can tell me, or that you can tell my client that I'm doing a reading with and doing channeling for? What insight do they need? What are the realizations that they need to have? That's why most people will start to talk to their spirit guides. It's really for insight. And we tend to forget about the other two parts of support and comfort. So spirit guides provide a lot of support. And what that can look like is directly, energetically sending you support of different energies that you need to get through your day, to get through different challenges in your life. And it can also be comfort. They love you unconditionally. So as such, they'll send you comfort along the way to make sure that you feel as safe and secure as possible. Now, obviously, bad things happen in the world in physical manifestation. They can't help that, but they can support you and comfort you through that. And it could be you're having, a bad day, you see a rainbow. It can be things like that are really simple and easy. And sometimes it's a lot more dramatic, but most of the time it's not very dramatic at all. And that's one of the main misconceptions about spirit guides. When people first start working with their spirit guides, they think it's going to be this like huge dramatic thing. And I absolutely fell into that trap too of when I first started doing energy work that I talked about in the last episode and wanted to communicate with my spirit guides. I was like, well, nothing's happening. No one's saying anything. It just feels like things that I would probably tell myself. So maybe it's just me. Maybe it's just my own brain that's making this up. And it's my own subconscious coming out. And it's not actually an entity that's separate from me in a different energy. A lot of people think that when they first start working with spirit guides, because it's not usually that dramatic. Usually it's small, tiny things that may be along the way. So one of the things that I have really grown to know is my spirit guides is every time I see a ladybug, whether it's a real physical insect or a picture of a ladybug or something like that that I see on social media. I don't see them that often. And it's always a sign from my spirit team that I need to relax and trust that the universe has my back and that everything's going to work out the way that it should. That's a sign that I see from them that has a really specific meaning to me and to my spirit team that we've developed over time. But it's really subtle. It's not something that is like, oh, wow. And only every so often, I'll walk into a store and there'll be a giant metal cutout of a ladybug, and it's very obvious. Most of the time it's pretty small of like, there's a message and then someone's put a little ladybug emoji on it or something like that. Or I'll be thinking something and then suddenly I'll see a ladybug on the fence or one will show up in my bathroom. And it's things like that of like small signs of like, hey, pay attention. This is something that you need to pay attention to, something you need to take notice of. That's how most of the time that spirit guides work with us is small changes. The reason why is they want us to make our own decisions. They don't want to interfere with what we're doing because they're there to support us, but they're not making decisions for us. It is not that our spirit team is going to make sure nothing bad ever happens to us, that everything is always easy all the time. They're really there to support us in our work and to provide insight and comfort, but they let us make our own mistakes. That's what part of being unconditional loving is that they don't interfere when we're going to screw up. They let us do our own screw ups and they love us all the same, even though we've screwed up. Two other really common misconceptions about spirit guides is that you only have one. You actually have a team of spirit guides. There's multiple of them. Some of them, as I've said, can communicate with you and some of them can't. That's a skill that they have to work on. They actually have schools in the non-physical realm as well to learn how to channel and communicate and become better spirit guides. So as part of that, I know that Monty has a school because when we made our channeling school to help people start to begin to connect with their spirit guides on the human side, he told me, hey, everybody that signs up for this, their spirit team is also being enrolled in my classes and my school where we help them actually get better at communicating with their human counterpart. So it's a process of being a spirit guide. It's a skill. It's not something that's, they know everything from the get-go. Sometimes they're not as good as other spirit guides. And that's why you have a team. There's some that are more experienced that have been doing it for longer. There's some that are newer to your team. And over lifetimes, they will switch out as well, because they have their own spiritual growth that they're working on. That's part of why they're on your spirit team. And when they feel that they have done what they need to do with their work with you, then they move on in their own spiritual evolution. And it tends to coordinate with when you have a different incarnation that they sign up. I'm going to do this incarnation. We'll reevaluate in the future, but not always. Sometimes things change and that's, they're not on your team, but they're always available. The same beings are always available. If you want to tap into them, they're always there for you because they've made a commitment to support you if you ask for them to be there. The other thing is they're learning too. They're not all knowing. They're not omnipotent. While the spirit guides are with you all the time and your spirit guides know everything that goes on in your life, unlike like a guardian angel, an archangel, an ascended master, they don't know everything that's going on in your life in the same amount of detail that a spirit guide does, but a spirit guide doesn't know everything. They are on their own spiritual evolution and spiritual journey, and they are not the be all end all source of everything. They do get stuff wrong. During channeling sessions that I've had with people, Monty is coordinated with their spirit team and their spirit team has told us something to then convey to the client that wasn't exactly 100% right. And that happens because spirit guides are not 100% right. And sometimes it's because they can't see the situation on its whole, or you're asking for advice of a prediction and they're giving you the best potential of it occurring because they can kind of see the potentiality of different situations. but sometimes other people make other choices. And so what they told you was incorrect. And we'll get into that on more episodes of the predictiveness of energy, but understand that spirit guides fall in that same camp. They can see the energy, but it's always changing and morphing. Energy is always in constant movement, and that's where they can get it wrong. So you always need to trust your own self-judgment. Above all, when you're working with any spirit guide or any spirit being, doesn't matter, your own gut feelings, your own intuition, your own feelings on what should be happening and what you should be doing are the most important to trust. Even if a spirit guide is telling you something different, your own discernment is the most important part of working with spirit guides. So as you're thinking, okay, I want to start communicating with spirit guides, how can I do that? The number one easiest way to do that Monty recommends to everybody to try at least once is that you start off by setting the intention of saying, spirit guides, I want to know that you're there. I want to know that you support me and that you're ready to start communicating with me. And as you're telling them this, you pick some sign. Whatever it is that you want, it could be an animal, it could be a specific thing that you want to see, it could be a specific sort of message. You want to make it something that is not obvious in your life. So sometimes I recommend picking a giraffe. We don't normally see that many giraffes in our days. Or like a pink feather or something like that. Something that is not part of your everyday, that you're not going to see very often. So that way you can be like, oh, wow, I saw that. I can't believe it. That thing showed up. And ask for them to show it to you, to confirm that statement that they're there, they want to support you, and ask them to show it to you 3 times within the next 5 days. And then be patient and watch for it. And I will say it doesn't always work for everybody on the first go, and it can be because you're not noticing, you're not giving them enough opportunities. If you are a work from home like me and you're home all the time and you don't scroll social media a lot, there's not a lot of opportunities for them to show you signs. So you gotta give them opportunities to show you signs. And even if you've done that, if you have a lot of disbelief, it's blocking the energy from really flowing to you. So you got to be patient, you got to be open, you got to trust that it's going to happen. But that's a really easy way to prove to yourself, like, hey, spirit guides are totally a real thing, and I want to start working with them, and to just be open to that experience. Other ways that they communicate in physical form are like angel numbers. You can have specific signs that you work with them on, like my ladybug. You can have like different symbols that you work with. If you have specific symbols that have certain meanings to you that you start to see all the time. And for a lot of people, they'll say, oh, I got a sign from the universe. A lot of the times it's actually their spirit guides working with them. They don't know that they have a spirit team that's working with them. And often they'll think it's the universe, but it's really your spirit team trying to communicate with you. Another way that spirit guides will start to work with you is other forms of communication. So dreams is a really common one for most people that are dreamers when they sleep. They'll often, when they start to invite in spirit guides to work with them, they'll start to have spirit guides or different sorts of things happening in their dreams that have meaning to them. And it's outside of what their subconscious is trying to communicate with them of like, oh, yeah, deep down, I know this. It's not usually things like that. It's usually like a being shows up in your dreams that you've never met before, and there's no familiarity with it whatsoever. That it feels familiar, but you can't logically place anything about it. Spirit guides feel familiar because they're in your energy all the time, so their energy feels familiar. So it'll be like something shows up and it feels warm and safe in your dream, not like a nightmare, but warm and safe. And then it'll be, this feels familiar, but I'm not sure why. Like, I'm not sure exactly about this being that showed up, but it seems like I know them, but I don't know where I know them from. That's probably your spirit guide. Then there's also, physical sensations. One of the things in our spirit guidance for beginners class that we teach, that we have our students do, is when they begin to connect with their spirit guides, we ask their spirit guides to send them energy so they can feel it in their bodies. And your body is your vessel of your intuition, your vessel of your connection. You can't make your body feel specific sensations just by your thoughts. If you're sitting in meditation and you ask for the energy of love and you start to feel this warmth spreading throughout your chest and throughout your whole body, that's not something that your mind is really making up and forcing your body to do. You are feeling those sensations because you are receiving energy from your spirit guides or from something else. So as part of our exercises that we do to introduce people to their spirit guides, that's one of the things of like really confirming like, hey, those sensations that you feel beyond just feeling like calm and at peace because you're in a meditative state and you're finally relaxed. You're feeling those things in your body because your spirit guides that are in non-physical form are sending energy to you, and you are receiving that energy and you're feeling it in your physical form. And one that's a little bit more rare is hearing messages. If you are not someone that has really worked on your psychic skills, not psychic gifts, but psychic skills, which we'll talk about on another episode. But if you haven't worked on them, it may be a little hard for you to hear things. That's usually one that people have a little less. Most people either have where they can have clairvoyance, where they see things, or they can kind of get a sense of something. But hearing like really clear messages, that one's a little bit harder for most beginners. But if you do hear something and you're like, that's coming from outside of me, that's not coming from me, that's coming from something else, that's often from your spirit guides, especially if it feels like a warm and loving and supportive message. How do you know that it's your spirit guide sending you this stuff that we've talked about, these different messages, and not something else, regardless of how it's coming in? There's a couple different things. So number one, it has that sense of familiarity to it. It feels supportive. It feels calm. It feels centered. It doesn't feel scattered. If you're hearing different voices, it's not like talking over each other. It's very collected and calm. That's really important to understand. It's always positive. It is never negative. It's never telling you bad things about you, about how you haven't done things, about how you've made mistakes. It is always positive. It's always supportive. It's never as well questioning like really broad religious beliefs or making you think, I don't believe in God anymore because the spirit guide message showed up. It's not asking you to join a cult. That's really, really important. It's not asking you to do things that you feel really uncomfortable with. It may be helping you have realizations that are uncomfortable, but it's not asking you to go do something that is really out of the bounds of what is like comfortable and normal for you and for the society that you live in. They're never also going to try to manipulate you, because they want you to make your own decisions and make your own mistakes. They're not going to manipulate you. And they also typically do not use the word should. If you have the word should coming through, you want to question, is that really my spirit guide, or is it my ego, or is it something else? And a lot of the questions that as soon as I talk about this, about how to judge, what's actually coming from a spirit guide, a lot of people will say, okay, how do you make sure that you don't have something else, like a negative entity attached to you? That's fairly rare. I've only run into it a couple times in my experience. And if you do feel like you have something like that, it's something worth getting checked out from someone that really practices in that. If you need a referral, please let me know. But it's not really something you have to worry about with your spirit guides. Your spirit guides are very close to you energetically all the time. So when we're talking about communicating with them, when you're channeling or you're trying to communicate with your spirit guides, they're in non-physical. So if you think about the different states of energy, you've got solid, you have liquid, you have gas, right? And if we think about water, ice, liquid water, gaseous vapor, right? They're kind of like they're in vapor. They're vibrating at a higher rate. Their molecules, right, are separated. They're further apart, like gas, vibrating in that higher frequency. We're down here in solid state like ice, right? Our molecules are in a specific structure. They're not moving as quickly. They're not bopping around as much, that they're really in that structure and state of being solid. What we have to do is actually take our consciousness and move our consciousness from being focused on the physical form and the physical state and move it up to the higher vibrations where spirit guides are hanging out. Spirit guides are also very accustomed to working with things in physical form. So their energy is closer to like what liquid would be. They're still in vapor, but they're further down. And so they can step down their energy to work with stuff in physical form, and we can move up our energy. So that's why when I say, if you want to start communicating and channeling and getting advice from some higher beings, your spirit guides are such an easy place to start with, because it's very easy for your energy to meet with theirs versus an ascended master, a guardian angel, an archangel. They have a tendency to be vibrating at a higher level and have a higher difficulty to step their energy down to a point that we can communicate with them. So it requires us to step our energy up even higher. And if you're not accustomed to do that, you haven't done a lot of energetic work, it's a little harder to do that. So that's why working with your spirit guides is a really great first step. And because they're so close to us in physical form, and that their energy is with us all the time, there's a sense of familiarity there already. So it's very easy for us to be like, oh, yep, I can trust this because it's been with you for a long time, even though you're not conscious of it. So it's very easy for us to make that connection and be able to have that direct communication in a very protected state while we're doing that. Why exactly would you want to work with spirit guides beyond the fact that they have some more insight, they like to support us, and they like to give us comfort? What's the benefits of working with spirit guides? And I can tell you, working with spirit guides in my own experience has been hugely transformative. When I first started, if you go back to listen to episode 1, I worked mostly with my highest self, my soul, and got information from that. But then as I started to encounter some issues that were bigger, broader things that my soul didn't have experience with, it was hard for my soul to be able to help me. It was like, yeah, this is what I want to do, and this is what my intention is. But it didn't feel like, this is giving me a broader perspective. It's more just a deeper perspective of my own authenticity. So working with my spirit guides has allowed me to really see that broader perspective. So not only are spirit guides, because they're with you all the time, they know your particular issues that you're working through and all of the little details, because they're with you. They know all the details. You don't have to explain the situation. They already know it. They have that broader perspective because they're very experienced as spirit beings. They have been in physical form for the most part. Not all of them, but most of them have been in physical form. They know what it's like to be a human. They understand what living in physical manifestation is like. Other types of beings don't as much. Some of them may have never been in physical form and have a really hard time understanding when you're like, well, how am I going to pay the bills this month, spirit? And it's like, I don't know. The universe will just provide. Spirit guides are a little bit more apt to help with things like that, of like the real issues that we struggle with day to day. They're much more grounded in their advice and what they share with us because they can see what we're dealing with. They're familiar with that situation. They're really familiar with what it means to be in physical form, even if they haven't been in a long time. They can also provide that emotional support in challenging times because they can see that situation and really understand it. And because they're with us all the time, they can be channeling the energy to us on a consistent basis. Whereas, with a guardian angel, an ascended master, an extraterrestrial, that's not really what they're there for. They're not really there. They're there to support humanity on the whole, but not us on an individual level. So we don't have that sort of like individual relationship with them in the same way of that, you're having a really bad day, your spirit team can send you energy that entire day. And AT is not going to stick around for that. It's kind of the difference of like, spirit guides are really dedicated to you as an individual. And because spirit guides are so close with us, it's a really easy way to start cultivating your intuition because they can help you open up your different energetic centers and do a lot of energy work. A lot of the things that I have learned how to do through channeling and energy work has come directly through my relationship with Monty and my spirit team of being able to develop our course that we teach and help other people develop our intuition. All of those different skills that we do come from Monty. All the different processes come from Monty. And I personally used all of those processes to get to the point today where I can now channel Monty, channel other beings, and be able to really use my intuition in that way. Before I worked with spirit guides, I had the ability of having clairvoyance and clairaudience, a little bit of clairsentience. And the more that I have worked with spirit guides, the more that those have opened up to the point that now my consciousness can really exit my physical form much more readily, participate in energy in a different way, while also still being very grounded and very centered on my day-to-day life at the same time. They can also really help you feel a sense of connection and a sense of that unconditional love of the universe that you're not going to get from anything else. That's one of the things that when I do sessions with clients that they talk about of Monty gives them a sense of peace and calm, but their own spirit teams are also giving them a sense of that oneness that you may not get through other means of just doing other types of spiritual work. Your spirit guides have this broader perspective, but it's very focused on you. Their energy is focused on you. And it allows you to kind of see how you can work with other beings in a collaborative environment, in a loving, supportive environment, in the way that maybe you want to see the universe. That's how I want to see the universe. I want to see the universe as a loving, collaborative place. working with my spirit guides is confirmation of that there is that aspect of the universe out there and allows me to feel that broader sense of oneness. It's much easier for me to, when I'm having a really difficult day, and then feel the love and affection and support of my spirit guides to go, okay, this is just one day among lots of days. This is just one tiny little grain of sand in a giant sand dune of the universe. And it's really not that important. And I can feel that oneness of like, my problems are pretty small, but I have this team here loving me, helping me, supporting me unconditionally. As we're wrapping up kind of the human aspect of what it's like to work with spirit guides and what we get out of it as humans and go to Monty, I want to just say a couple last few things before we move on about how you can start working with your spirit guides. There's a lot of channelers and spiritual teachers out there that say the only way you can get in touch with your spirit guides is through meditation. I don't think that's necessarily true. And it wasn't in my experience. I meditated a lot, did a lot of energy work. I could never connect with them. And that was one of the most frustrating things of, looking for different resources. I gave up because I was like, well, this just isn't happening. It must not be a gift that I have, which I don't believe in gifts. I think that they're all skills that we can work on. It wasn't until I learned the energy behind how to connect with spirit guides, of doing that energetic raising, opening up my different energetic centers to receive information from them, before I could really connect to them. That's, yes, something that you do in meditation, but it's very specific meditations rather than more broad, just sit in silence and your spirit guides are going to show up. That's my problem with saying that meditation helps you connect with spirit guides. It gives this concept that if you just sit in solitude and in a quiet space and quiet your mind, your spirit guides are going to show up. That's not necessarily the case, because you do have to raise your energy up a little bit for them to be able to communicate with you in that way. If you want to get started communicating with your spirit guides, that's what you need to work on. It's those foundational energetic skills of grounding, of expanding your energy, of clearing out and connecting and opening up your chakras, and then actually making a connection with your spirit guides. And the last bit is really just through intention and letting go of fears that you have. But until you learn that stuff, you're going to have a hard time connecting with your spirit guides until you can kind of get a hold of those things. So if you do want to get in touch with your spirit guides, I have a free meditation that I've made with Monty that will help you go through that process. It doesn't teach you everything, but gives you the basics to be able to get started. And most people that do that meditation usually make contact on the first time, or after a few repetitions, they start to feel something. And again, anytime you feel something in your physical form when you're in meditation, that's not your imagination. That is your spirit guide showing up. So if you want to give that a go, you can sign up on my website at kimcharlson.com and look for the free spirit guide meditation, and that will help you meet your spirit guides for the first time. Now that we've talked through the human side, how you can get started, it's time to turn this over to Monty and let him share his perspective of spirit guides, how they work, and how they kind of handle things on their side of the equation. So I'll let him get into that, and I'll see you at the end of this episode. Your spirit team is a group of non-physical beings who have decided that they wish to join you in your soul growth and to help shepherd and watch over you as you are participating in the process of going through different experiences in your physical manifestation. The reason why spirit guides have selected to work with you in particular is threefold. First, the spirit guides are doing it to be of service. A large part of soul growth and soul evolution is being of service to others. As such, they have decided it is time for them to move forward in their own soul growth by helping those who have decided to come forward into physical manifestation. Being in physical manifestation is a particularly challenging experience that not all spirits determine that they wish to participate in. However, when a spirit decides that they want to become physical and that they wish to be part of the physical realm, a group of other non-physical beings, other spirits, decide that they will help provide resources and support to that non-physical group. So that way the physical individual may be able to have support. The reason being in physical form is so challenging. It is a collective effort and not merely an individual effort. You have chosen to be in physical form because you wish to experience physical manifestation and different aspects of it. You may have had many lifetimes before this incarnation. However, you have continually recommitted to the decision to be in physical form in the interim period in between every single one of your lives. Your spirit team has been committed to you throughout multiple of your lifetimes. While they may change from lifetime to lifetime as their own spiritual evolution continues, they have decided to work with you across multiple lifetimes that you have incarnate. They have decided to be of this shepherd energy to help you to move forward because it also helps their own spiritual growth. It is of the utmost importance for their spiritual growth, their spiritual evolution to be of service, as being of service is one of the highest energies that you can embody. It is a high vibrational frequency. It is important to understand what the role of a spirit guide is, both in relationship to you as a human, as well as on the spirit realm and in the spirit plane. In relationship to you as a human, being a spirit guide is that they have chosen to work intimately with your energy. And this is the second reason why they have chosen to be your spirit guide in particular. Your energy has some aspect to it that they wish to help with, that they wish to experience collaborating with. Now, this may be because you share similar types of energies, such as I share a similar energy with Kimberly, and that is why we collaborate together. It can be that they wish to experience collaborating with a similar energy in physical form. It may be that they wish to embody the types of energy that you are currently embodying, and so they are in physical form in your manifestation because the spirit will become a physical manifestation in the future of their own spiritual evolution. It may be as well that they have other interests in the energy that you are experiencing in your lifetime, that they may have experienced similar energies and struggles when they were in physical manifestation, or know how to work and collaborate with these energies that you are experiencing in your own life and physical manifestation. The third reason why a spirit guide will determine it is time to work with you in particular is because they have experience with you in physical manifestation. This is more rare, but it is that they encountered a relationship with you and are part of what is termed the soul family. They have had an encounter or multiple encounters in physical manifestation, and after the termination of one of their physical manifestations, they have decided to remain in spirit as part of their own spiritual evolution and growth. And as part of that, they may have decided, right when they stopped being incarnate or when they have been not incarnate for a long period of time, that they wish to continue their spiritual growth by being of service to you. Not all spirit guides have a personal relationship, and that is the reason why they join your spirit team. But all spirit guides are dedicated to you in particular. They only collaborate with you in particular. Now, when spirit guides are communicating with you, there are some who may be able to directly communicate with you, either through channeling, through synchronicities, or other messages. Not all spirit guides have this ability. It may be that you only have a select few of spirit guides on your team that are able to communicate in this way, who are able to communicate by manipulating things in physical manifestation or drawing your attention to various aspects in physical manifestation. Now, every team has at least a few members that are able to do this, as it is an important part of a spirit team and their collaboration with the physical manifestation process. However, not all spirit guides, again, have this ability. Some of them are in school and are working upon it, as we do have schools on the spirit side to learn these different skills, much in the same way that you have schools in your physical manifestation to learn different skills of communication. It is important to understand that no matter what, your spirit team is there to be of service. Sometimes, however, this means that they will let you make mistakes because it is for your highest good. It is for your soul growth and soul evolution. While there are always choices available to you of how difficult or how easy something will be for you to collaborate with that energy and physical manifestation, it is always your choice, and spirit guides will not interfere with or take away the opportunity for a choice. They may direct you to alternative choices by showing you other paths or indicating other means for you to collaborate with the same energies and physical manifestation. However, they will never make this choice for you. This is because they love you unconditionally, with no bounds of how much love they wish to express to you. This is part of what it means to be of service, is unconditional love. The difference between unconditional love and non-physical and physical forms is that there is no limit to the amount of, how shall we say this, mistakes that they will, quote unquote, put up with when you are making different choices. They understand that you are going to live many different physical incarnations, and already have up until this point. And so if you make a difficult choice, or a choice that they would have preferred, that you could have picked something else, they love you and know that you will still be able to reach your particular spiritual evolution and collaborate with the energies in this lifetime or in the next or in a future lifetime. They do not feel the pressure of getting it right immediately, always. Rather, they will allow you to make your different decisions and love you unconditionally nonetheless. They will, quote unquote, put up with everything that you do because they love you unconditionally, and there is no limit to their love, such as with a parent. A parent may only put up with behavior from their child for so long before they cut the ties and move on. While the love is still there, it is conditional. Spirit guides do not function in this way. Their love is always unconditional. As such, your spirit guides will never collaborate in some way to make life more difficult for you. This is not their goal. Their goal is not to make it harder for you or to teach you different lessons. Rather, they are helping you in your spiritual evolution to make the choices on your own that will provide you with the most opportunities for realizing your particular spiritual goals and collaborations with different energies. Spirit guides also have a duty to each other of collaborating within their teams to help each other, and this is why it is called a team and not merely a collective of individual spirit beings. They also coordinate among themselves and work together in collaboration, and this is part of being of service to the whole. While you are the one in physical manifestation doing the quote-unquote work, as you may see it, your spirit team is collaborating with each other, helping each other and supporting each other just as they support you. This is one aspect that is not often talked about. The final things that we wish for you to know about spirit guides is how you can begin to start working with them. It is of the utmost importance that you accept that they are there. They are available to help you, whether or not you are able to feel them, or see the manifestations that they are sending to you to help you make decisions. Rather, you can invite them into your life and invite them into your energy much more readily than you already have. While you were not incarnate, you gave them that permission, and that permission maintains. However, your energy may be attempting to do things independently because you wish to do them independently. And so, at times, it may be more difficult for you to feel them because you wish to rather go it alone. The more that you ask for their help, the more that you are open to that experience, the easier it is for them to collaborate with you. It is also important to understand that letting go of any fears that you are doing something wrong, that they will be mad at you, or that it is unsafe to speak with them, to let that go, as those are also blocking your energy from making a pure and direct connection with them. It is of the utmost importance that you accept that there are societal conditions that have made it difficult for most humans to connect with their spirit guides, and that is in part because the spirit guide relationship is seen as one that does not allow others to control you. Spirit guides do not control you, they merely guide you. But others outside of your soul family sometimes wish to control you. And so disempowering you and making you feel as though you cannot make a direct connection on your own with your spirit team is one of the ways that society at large has established this fear within you. It is a self-empowering decision to connect with your spirit team and to allow them to become a deeper part of your spiritual experience and growth on a conscious level, as they are always there, whether or not you are aware of it. Now, the other thing to understand is that spirit guides will not interfere in your choices, even if that choice is going to send you down the path of many challenges and many difficulties. As we have said before, it is a broad understanding of your choices in this one lifetime will allow you to experience different things. And sometimes those things are things that you as a human would think are unhelpful. However, you are here to visit and to participate in the broadness of the human experience. There are no lessons that you have to learn, but merely collaborations with different energies that you wish to participate in. As such, that means that sometimes the energies that you are collaborating with are energies that you find you do not actually wish to have in your life. Your spirit team will not interfere with those co-collaborations, but instead help to guide you towards a path that may be easier, that may be more simplistic for you to tread. To make contact with your spirit team in the beginning, all you need is the intention and the quietness of mind. So that way you can focus on the energy that they are sending to you. Communication with spirit guides is always through energetic means, even if it is in physical manifestation. Angel numbers are a great way to start. We love to use them because they are very simple and humans find them very interesting and so therefore have a tendency to pay attention to them. More complex signs and synchronicities, humans are much more apt to brush off. And so therefore, it can be more difficult for us to communicate in that way, as well as it often takes more energy and more coordination with other spirit teams for there to be specific things that happen in your physical manifestation that allow you to come to a broader understanding that there is something on the other side of physical manifestation in the spirit realm. There is nothing else we wish to add right now, but as always, please send us your questions so that way we may answer them about spirit guides and how you can begin to work with them. That is all. It's so interesting hearing Monty's perspective as being on my spirit team, but also having worked with a lot of different spirit guides over the years to help them on their own journeys of helping and collaborating with their human counterparts. It's such a delight to hear what he has to say. So I'm glad that we have the opportunity to hear from him. You can sign up to meet your spirit guides in our free meditation that Monty and I have made together on our website at kimcharlson.com. And if you have any questions about things that have come up during this episode, please write to us at hello@kimcharlson.com, and we'd be happy to include your question in one of our future episodes. Next week, we're going to be talking all about the path of intention, which is an insight that Monty first shared during a client channeling session that then we got to know a little bit more together. And this will be the first time that we've really talked about it before in a more public forum. So I'm very excited to bring that to you because it's helped me really understand quite a lot about setting intentions to get the different results that I want in my life. And I'm really excited to bring it to you. So we'll see you in the next one.